Okay, what type of sim rig should you get? It's an important question that we've never seen anyone try and answer. So I'm here with Sam, professional karter, and myself on the channel, as you know, and we're going to talk about all the different types of sim rigs, pros and the cons, completely honestly. So we're going to cover on your desk, we're going to cover it in something like a Playseat Challenge, we're going to cover in something that looks like this, and we're going to cover the ultimate top-end motion mad rig. So everything is going to be covered. So Sam, let's start. The first thing for me is on a desk setup. That is when you start sim racing on a wheel. I would actually classify that as a sim rig.
Yep,
it's a sim rig you're using the desk. For me, that's about really going from a controller.
That's the first step for
Yeah.
me. I think your very first step, like you said, going from controller to actually experience the steering wheel pedals should be a desk with the pedals on the floor with a pair of carpet grippers or even just something heavy on it, just try and stop it.
So we've all made these mistakes, so we're going to try and help you here. If you do that, so if you go out, you go to your local media market or whatever, and you come out with a box, if you've got your pedals on carpet, you want to try and use carpet grippers or something. If you're pressing on the brake and the pedals are moving, you're going to have a really difficult time trying to brake, and it won't be your fault. You're going to just struggle. You try and brace it and push it. It's not a brace it with the throttle, and it's not going to work.
It's always good fun when you press the brake and you're disappearing away from the steering wheel.
Or you disappear. So use the carpet grippers, or you can try and wedge something in between the wall and the pedals or something like that. When you clamp your wheel to your desk, you've got to be careful because sometimes you can knock your knees, so you might want to change your seating position a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes the clamp won't fit your desk, but you can put an extra book or something in between it. So there's lots of kind of dark arts of getting a really good experience on desk. I mean, I've raced on desk for a long time.
I actually never did the desk thing.
You know, you skip desk.
I skipped desk. I went straight to foldable.
So next step is foldable rigs. So foldable rigs, I will classify something like a Playseat Challenge, but also technically this, but we're going to come on to this one later because believe it or not, this one does fold. Playseat Challenge, I used it for a long time. You're still using it.
Slightly modified, but yeah.
So you're modifying it, probably to overcome some of the cons.
Yes.
So I'll talk about it, including what those cons are, and Sam will let you know how to fix them. So Playseat Challenge, like a deck chair, very comfortable, does fold up with the pedals and the wheels on it. You can kind of put it in the closet or something. The weaknesses are you have a little bit of flex on the wheel deck, although I wouldn't say that's the biggest issue, but the pedals can be quite difficult to mount, and you're meant to strap them, and the pedals can fall off and it can also shoot off. So I imagine you've done some modifications.
Yeah, so on the wheel deck you're talking about, I've actually bolted that to the underside of my desk just so it's a bit more firm, because like you said, that is the main bit of flex. And then on the pedals, like you said, once again, you strap it down. I've actually bolted them on, so I found what size I need, what distance I need. I've actually fully bolted them in place, and then I've bolted down as well onto the side rails just to try and get rid of that uncertainty of am I going to be able to brake and actually stay in the same position, or am I going to brake and the pedals are going to disappear?
So if you are using a Playseat Challenge or their equivalents from other manufacturers, the more stronger equipment you put on it, the more it's going to show up the weaknesses. Now there is kind of a parallel part to the foldables that I would call the wheel stand family, and these are essentially a plate connected to a wheel deck, but they don't have a rig seat system behind it. So often you're sat there on a wheelie chair.
It's almost like, imagine this half here doesn't exist.
Yeah, so it's just this bit. Now some of them are foldable and they're more flexible. Some of them are not foldable and they're more rigid. Now the wheel stand is a good idea if you want to use some kind of wheel deck that you really want to bolt on here, because the plate is more stronger than the play seat, and also you have a proper pedal deck on pretty much all of them. However, you're still going to have lots of rigidity issues. So I would say the wheel stand and the play seat kind of vanilla are not going to sustain you moving into mid-level sim racing equipment. So then we get into entry-level rigs, and I would classify those as ones that don't look like this. So they often look a little bit tubular, or there's lots of bits you bolt together. The FGT Lite and kind of rigs like that. I wouldn't actually recommend those rigs because they're not very modifiable. You can't put a lot of accessories on them. They're very limited in what they can do. They have a lot of flex in them. Sometimes there's quite thin metallic connections there. So I actually don't recommend those. And I would recommend going straight to a entry-level aluminium extrusion rig. So this is kind of, now we're getting into in the scheme of things, it's really mid-level, but entry-level admin extrusion rig, they look like this, where they have this, what's called T-slot. This is very customizable. You can
literally do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want. You know, headphone holder, keyboard tray, PC holder, monitor mounts, everything. It just bolts in. Cup holder, cup holders, whatever you want. You can put it on a rig like this. And basically, the cheaper rigs have sort of narrower extrusion.
Yeah, so like a 2020 to like a 4020 and 8020, and they keep going up.
Now, I would recommend actually going to a narrower extrusion than kind of a non-extrusion entry-level rig. I just think you're gonna have a better time, you're gonna understand extrusion more, it's more sellable, it's more modifiable, you can use those bits later on, do all kinds of interesting stuff. That brings us to something like this, which is an advanced, fairly advanced aluminium extrusion rig. So you can see we've got 3 slots here, we've got 4 slots on the bottom. This one has a party trick that we may as well show Sam, we could do it together. So if you've made it this far in the video, I want you to write fold in capital letters, because you may be massively surprised by what we're about to do. So as you can see, this is what we mean by customizable. This is not a common rig, this is a very, very, very special rig, albeit it's using some extremely good equipment. Like these pedals are about 800 pounds, the wheelbase is very powerful. And if you just tilt it up, Sam, so we see, this is a footprint of this rig. So you can't do this with one of the non-aluminium extrusion rigs. And to be honest, does it take up that much more space than the PlaySeat Challenge?
No.
Not a huge, yes, it does take up more, but not a huge amount. And what you're getting is so much more in terms of rigidity.
So much better, yeah. I mean, PlaySeat probably here. By the time it's all folded up with the wheelbase on, you're probably only 6 inch, 8 inch more.
So pretty exciting what you can do with this kind of aluminium extrusion. There are rigs that are more expensive than this and now tubular rigs. So Corsair, now Fanatec has one, the Club Sport GT. Also Cooler Master have the Dinex rig. These are tubular rigs. They say that this is very customizable because you can mount stuff to the tubular side of things. Some of them also have T-slots in the tubes as well. There's a question mark about whether tubular rigs are as rigid as these extrusion rigs, and these companies are trying to show that they are. It's worth bearing that in mind because sometimes a tubular rig can look better than an extrusion rig. So if you want something that looks a bit more like a work of art than this, a tubular rig may be the way to go. And they're now about really the £1,000 mark, these kind of rigs. So we're getting expensive. And the final level, Sam, I don't know if you have much experience on this. But
I have zero experience on this.
Okay, I've been lucky to drive some crazy ones, are motion rigs. So motion rigs. And these have actuators that move you around. And it's an absolute minefield. So do not rush out and buy a motion rig. You need to understand the different axes and what kind of yaw and pitch.
X, Y, Z.
Yeah, X, Y, Z and every other letter. And you don't want to regret getting a certain axis and then you missed one out, because they're an absolute pain sometimes to put together and do. Now, I have a lot of motion companies who reach out who want me to review their rigs, and I'm often reluctant to do it because I know it's going to take a lot of time to set it up for just one review. But I'd love to hear from you in the comments if you are a massive motion rig advocate, because I've had some great experiences on motion rigs at expos in particular. But I can't believe, Sam, we've gone from a journey from controller to mad motion rig, but we've done it.
We have, somehow we've managed to do that.
Do you have a favorite kind of like rig type in that whole spectrum?
Like we discussed, I'm on the PlaySeat Challenge at the moment. I will be going to an extrusion type next. That is my next purchase product I'm going to go for. I'm really looking forward to it. The next thing which you should cover is monitors.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Monitors, ultra wide, triples, 4K, 4040p, 1080p.
VR.
Okay, let us know if you want to see monitors in the next video. I'll put some more on screen here and we'll see you next time.